take a look here at the time of me recording this video, there's roughly 8 days left for the Dia and Sino banners, as well as the weapon banners, which I think, while not as insane as the last weapon banner, is still pretty decent. These two weapons are alright, so if you don't feel like getting Dia or Sino, I'd say the weapon banner is pretty decent this go around, as long as you're completely alright with potentially getting Eye of Perception 50 times. What I'm making this video for is that after this banner is up, the next double banner will be active. And that's going to be with Ayaka and Shenhe, with Mika coming as the new 4-star focus, who is actually like a physical damage buffer for Eula. I actually have a Eula in my back pocket that I've been meaning to use for a while now, so pulling for him is going to be very nice next banner. But what I wanted to talk about today is why you should probably pull for Shenhe if you don't have her. Shenhe is a very niche but very powerful crowd damage buffer. So if you use crowd characters a lot in general, but specifically if you use Ganyu or Ayaka a lot, she's a very nice option to have. Case in point, let me demonstrate the damage buff that Shenhe can give for crowd units. So for reference, mine is using Scoured Spine, R2, have her on double attack bonus set with Gladiators and Shiminawas. She's C1, and I have her skill and burst at level 10. So she's a very nicely built character. I got her at 3,590 attack, which is perfect because all of her buffs are based on attack. Using her, she doesn't buff just crowd damage, but she buffs crowd damage the most, if that makes sense. So her burst, it actually reduces enemies' cryo and physical resistance. So Shenhe can actually be used with Eula, for example, to reduce the enemy's physical resistance even further inside of her burst field if you keep them in it. So that'll make Eula's burst hit even harder, if that was even possible. And besides that, her second passive talent, where after using her elemental skill, it grants a specific damage bonus depending on whether it was the press or hold version of her elemental skill. This bonus isn't tied to whether or not the attack was cryo or not. This is just a universal buff to party members like damage. So there are parts of her kit, of Shinha's kit, that buffs damage besides cryo. It's just that she buffs cryo damage the most by far, because it's actually insane. Like, it's actually insane. So for reference, alright, I have Diona here. This is fully support Diona, okay? Sacrificial Bow, Noblesse, Talent 10s for her skill and burst. For my Kaya, I have him on Haran, Blizzard Strayer 2-piece. I don't even have a full set on him. C5, nearly maxed out talents. And Chongyun, I'm gonna be honest, is just there. He is legit just there. But he has Sacrificial Greatsword, just for the hell of it. So yeah, keep this in mind. Now let's look at Diona's elemental skill, right? What it does to this boss at base. When I do the hold version, it does 600 damage non-crit, 900 damage crit. Now, let me do this. And now, buffed by Shenhe's skill, look at that huge damage increase. It did 2,300 damage non-crit and like 3,500 as a crit. And keep in mind, that is such a huge damage increase considering that Diona is not built to do damage. So you can only imagine how massive of a boost this can be for characters like Ganyu or Ayaka. So I'm just gonna leave and let the boss reset, and I'm gonna demonstrate the damage boost again for Kaya and Chongyun. Alright, so Kaya's skill, non-boosted, 11k. Alright, Chongyun's burst does like 5.8k as a crit. Alright, I just realized I gotta get Chongyun's burst back to demonstrate this again. Okay, there we go. Alright, so now, is his cryo res being boosted? Crap, I can't demonstrate it now anymore. The numbers are gonna be changed. Let me see. Let me find something else. Then let's try the bird. So let's try the dendro bird here as an example instead of the that mechanical boss. So Kaya's elemental skill, 94k as a crit, but let's try it now. 13k. That's a huge boosted damage, bro. Ridiculous boosted damage. Let's do Chongyun's elemental skill, just raw. 25. Alright, so it did 2.5k non-crit. So boosted by Shinha, it does. Okay, 7.3k with a crit, which that's kind of crazy because I don't even have that much crit damage on him, so that was a huge boost in damage right there. So with that being said, there's plenty of teams, well, there's a select amount of teams that you can use Shinha in, but she provides an incredible damage boost to them. So let me show you a couple of them. So everyone knows about the Burning Melt Ganyu team, right? Use Ganyu, use Bennett and Nahida to inflict the burning reaction using Nahida's elemental skill, and then you just spam Ganyu's charge shots on that target to inflict reverse melt on them multiple times and deal a crap ton of damage. Usually, you use a shielder like Zhongli in the 4th slot to make sure that Ganyu stays safe while she's inflicting all that damage. But if you're confident in your gameplay, like in your skills or whatever, and you want to take a riskier but more damaging route, you can just put Shenhe here as the 4th slot to boost Ganyu's damage even further for the reverse melt team. And yeah, Ganyu's damage with this version of the team is actually insane. It's ridiculous, dude. Now as I said, this version of the team is highly risky. It's very dangerous because you're not running a shield to keep Ganyu safe. But the damage that you get from this version of the team is honestly insane. So what I'm gonna do here is put Dendro on this guy, pause the burning reaction, set up, boost up Ganyu's charged attacks. Look at that. Wow, his power aura is already gone. Let me just put that back on. Use one more charge attack. Look at that damage, dude. That's insane. And keep in mind, she's not even being boosted by, oh god, and she's dead. Okay. So, let me bring her back and restart real quick. But yeah, that's the downside to using this version of the team without a shield. You can die pretty fast if you don't have Bennett's burst down. Wait for my stamina to come back up, or not. There we go. Put that power aura back on. All right, now I'm gonna need you to chill.
Nope.
Okay then. What is... Yo, this demonstration is not going as planned at all. I have no idea what's going on. This guy is being a total nuisance right now. I have no idea why. Okay, let me do this.
Nope.
Again, bro? Okay, let's try somewhere else. That is insane. That is some awful bad luck there. Bro, he broke my ankles twice in a row. Twice in a row. I don't know what happened. I didn't have to worry about that the previous times I recorded this, but I don't know why he's being such a nuisance now. Let me try somewhere else. Fighting this guy without shields is a huge pain, but it doesn't matter if he dies before it even becomes an issue. as soon as I get one shot on him. Okay then. Okay then. Please. I understand. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, so this version of the team without a shielder is a huge pain. A very huge pain. But the risk is usually worth it. Usually. Because look, you just trigger the burning reaction, set up charge attack, set up charge attack, set up charge attack.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I can't believe what I'm going through right now trying to record this. I can't believe it. Did you see that? He matrix dodged my shit. Okay, let's try somewhere else then. Alright, there we go. So, set up Shinha's skill first. Do this, burst with Bennett, and then dead. She does an obnoxious amount of damage when boosted by Shinha in this version of her burning melt team. Like, Ganyu is actually insane if you can get her shots off. It's just that without a shielder, getting her shots off is exponentially difficult, but the damage you get from it is usually worth it. Usually. Anyways, what are some other teams you can use Shinha in? Shinha is like one of the main components of enabling a solo cryo team, where you basically use it nothing but cryo units to dish out a ton of cryo damage. This team is viable because every single cryo unit on the team will be able to utilize her quills from her elemental skill. But you can't necessarily take advantage of the freeze reaction because you need hydro units for that. But solo cryo team can take advantage of the shattering ice elemental resonance for that increased crit rate against cryo inflicted enemies a ton. So that's basically where most of the teams like DPS will come from. Also, Shinha is a very good teammate for Eula because Shinha's elemental burst does reduce enemies physical resistance, and that just enables Eula with a superconduct trigger like Raiden Shogun and like a shielder like Zhongli to just deal a lot of damage with her normals. And I know she might be like competing with Mika for this specific slot on Eula's team once he comes out, but for the time being, the two main cryo units used in addition to Eula on her physical carry teams are Shinha and Diona. And basically, if you have Zhongli, like a different shielder, but especially if you have like Zhongli, there's basically no reason to use Diona. So you can just slap on Shinha on this slot of the team, and she can just boost Eula's damage even further. So it's very solid. You can also use Shinha in a reverse melt team that doesn't use Ganyu or Ayaka, for example. The two main pyro characters that you would use for this type of team is Bennett and Zhongling. And while I don't have her build necessarily, Rosaria is usually a good candidate for this team. You're basically playing like what do they call it nowadays? Circle Impact is the term for it, where you just throw down Bennett's burst, Shinha's burst, and Rosaria's burst in like the same general like vicinity on like a singular enemy, and then you just set off Zhongling's burst, and you just deal a ton of damage with like melt and reverse melt reactions that can potentially be boosted by Shinha's burst and elemental skill. So yeah, I haven't used this team in action myself. If I would, I'd probably switch out Rosaria for Kaya for this specific team, or maybe for like extra like defensive utility, I'd probably use Layla here, just so I can have like a shielder to like keep the team alive. Plus she'd also enable cryo resonance for this team as well, alongside Fervent Flames. Thinking about it out loud, I think I might build Layla next and then try this team out myself. I think I might do that. Yeah, sorry if this video is kind of all over the place. It's just recording that footage did not go anywhere near as smooth as I thought it would, because holy crap, the enemies in this game sometimes. Would I recommend you to pull for Shinha if you don't use cryo units or like Ganyu or Ayaka, for example, like specifically? To be perfectly honest, unless you like absolutely like love Shinha as like a character, if you don't use cryo units a lot, I wouldn't recommend pulling for her. But if you use cryo units a lot, if you love the freeze reactions, if you love the reverse melt reactions, if you want another character to use with Eula, for example, or if you just like Shinha as a character or whatever, I'd say go for it. When Shinha first came out, a lot of players kind of underestimated just how ridiculous the damage boost she gave to like certain cryo units actually was. And now that they've had a little bit more time, like, you know, being exposed to like what she can provide for her teams, I think a lot of people are going to pull for Shinha this go around, at least in my opinion. In terms of constellations, I would recommend snagging Constellation 1 if you can, because it makes playing Shinha a lot more comfortable. You don't have to worry about being as precise with using her elemental skill to like buff her teammates. You can have 2 procs of it. You can have 2 procs with her elemental skill with C1. As far as her second constellation goes, this is the constellation that I'm actually gunning for when she comes out next week actually. It makes her burst last 6 seconds longer, and active characters within the field deal 15% increased cryo crit damage. So that just makes a lot of my cryo units hit even harder while they're within like her burst. So that's a very nice solid constellation to have. I do have a long-term goal of C6ing Shinha eventually. Honestly, her constellations are very niche. You don't need them at all. They just seriously rock, dude. Like this Constellation 4 that just turns her elemental skill, that just makes her elemental skill like hit like a truck after her teammates rock their icicle effects. So basically with C4, her elemental skill would gain stacks of Skyfrost's mantra, and it'll like increase the damage of that elemental skill by 5% for each icicle stack that's been used. And it has a maximum of 50 stacks. So it basically like rewards you for like using Shinha's elemental skill to boost her teammates' damage, essentially. And then C6. This is a constellation that I want to get a lot because I want to be able to like experiment with this for like Chongyun because of his like cryo infusion with his elemental skill. So basically with Shinha C6, characters will have an unlimited amount of icicle stacks as long as they're using normal and charged attacks. So that's just a ridiculous damage boost for some characters, because look, let me switch to Chongyun for example. Yeah, so against this guy, for example, right? I'm gonna place down Chongyun's elemental skill and then use Kaya's normals. See how his normals are doing like 3k right now? 3k, 4k, essentially. Okay. But now, I'm gonna use Shinha's elemental skill. And now look, Kaya's normals are doing 8k, 9k. Look, that final hit did 10k by itself. So being able to spam that non-stop with Shinha's Constellation 6 seems really good. I hope this video is kind of all over the place, so I apologize. Recording this footage was a nightmare. I hope this kinda explains why Shinha is possibly like a good choice to like pull for if you're interested in pulling for her. Because the last thing I want to do is to make it seem like characters are must pulls, you know, that you absolutely have to have them. As much as I like her kit and like her character and like stuff like that, I wouldn't necessarily say she's a must pull. So if you don't want to pull for her, then You don't have to pull for her. This is a gacha game after all. But I will say that if you enjoy using crowd characters, if you enjoy using freeze reactions, then she's a solid choice if you want to buff those characters even further. That is going to be the end of this video, and before I sign off, I just want to say thank you guys so much for 100 subscribers, dude. We just hit over 100 subscribers like a few days ago. I had a goal that I wanted to hit 100 subscribers on the channel before the start of spring, which is basically like the end of March, so like March 28th, I believe. And yeah, we hit the goal. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for the continued support. I'll have a list of names that subscribe to the channel running down on the screen below. Thank you guys so much. If you don't see your name down below, it's probably because there's like some settings on your profile that, like, you know, doesn't allow your name to be shown for like privacy reasons, which, you know, I'm not gonna like show that off. I'm not gonna like disrupt your like privacy for whatever reason. Yeah, thank you guys so much for the continued support, and yeah, I'm gonna set up another goals. Let's see if I can reach 200 subs. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video somehow, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And yeah, I'll see you guys on my next video. Take care.